I have in this world is my balls and my word, and I don't break them for no one. Do you understand?
Show me the money! Show me the money!
UFC Houston, this is the full card, predictions and picks with weigh-in and face-offs. Right, in the main event, we have Sean Strickland taking on Anthony Hernandez in the middleweight division. Both their styles kind of are similar, but Anthony Hernandez likes to kind of put on the pressure and use his grappling takedowns to kind of use that to his advantage. Sean Strickland likes to keep it on the feet, use his teeps and use his boxing, right, use the Philly shell, and he's very defensively sound. Sean Strickland's very defensively sound over 5 rounds, and Anthony Hernandez is going to end up finding it hard to kind of, I think, get off his grappling, what that actually achieves him the win. And I don't think it's going to end up playing a factor here. Anthony Hernandez pulled out of his last fight against adier due to injury. I think we're going to see an Anthony Hernandez hit a ceiling here, and I think Sean Strickland's going to end up getting a very good win over a 5 rounds to a decision. So give me a Sean Strickland via decision. Moving to the co-main event, we have Jeff Neal, Hands of Steel, taking on Uros Medic. Uros Medic, he's very much like more of a kickboxer kind of style. We have Jeff Neal. Hands of Steel all day is what he's basically is. He's got more well-rounded boxing here, and I think Uros Medic doesn't move his head off the center line, right? So, we're speaking of the big cage here as well. So, I think that Jeff Neal is going to end up taking Uros Medic's head off with his boxing. I think he's going to put on the pressure, and I've got like a late TKO stoppage for Jeff Neal. I think he's going to end up putting on the pressure with the Uros Medic, and Uros Medic is not going to know what to do with that boxing pressure, man, that's getting put on him, I don't think he's going to end up finding a way to get out of that. And give me Jeff Neal by late TKO. Moving to the next fight, we have Dan Ige taking on Mikel Costa. Mikel Costa, he's kind of more of like a kickboxer kind of style, in the sense, but he's got more jiu-jitsu. He's got really dangerous Brazilian jiu-jitsu. Excuse me. He's been on a tear, man. But his last fight was 2 months and 6 days ago. Take note. He's very active when he wants to be, and then it was 9 months. It's very close, in between his fights, right? He's very unorthodox. He can throw strikes from anywhere. He's very much of a sniper as well. He doesn't really set up his shots like a boxer, but on the other hand, Dan Ige is very much like a guy that can set up his shots like a boxer. He can keep it on the feet. I think it's hard. I think Dan Ige's got very good, grappling takedown defense. I think Mikel Costa, his way to win here is kind of to snipe a Dan Ige. I think that's how a Mikel Costa can win. I think that's the only way he can win. I think pretty much that's, not unless he wins on a decision and people say that's a robbery or something. Dan Ige had that. I've got a Dan Ige on decision. I think Dan Ige can keep it on the feet. I think Dan Ige can kind of outclass a Mikel Costa. And I think Mikel Costa's kind of, I don't think he's going to know what to do when he get pressured with the boxing. There's a kind of a style going on here in this card. And I think Dan Ige on a decision over Mikel Costa. I don't think Dan Ige can get submitted either by Mikel Costa. I don't think so. But, it is possible. Moving to the next fight, we have Sergey Spivak taking on Ante Delija. In the heavyweight division, Ante Delija is known to be training with Tom Aspinall. He's one of Tom's boys, right? Obviously Spivak has been KO'd, or he's been brutalized by Tom Aspinall, so obviously right here we've got Ante Delija's already got the upper hand. Ante Delija's 13. Sergey Spivak here, he's number 9. So they're obviously pushing Ante Delija. I think they're going to run it back with Waldo Costa. I think that's going to happen eventually. I think Ante Delija here is going to be way better on the feet. I think he's not going to let a Spivak get up his grappling. That's what Spivak wants to do. And I think, Ante Delija, I've got Ante Delija by first round KO over Sergey Spivak. I think that's what's going to happen. Because I think eventually Sergey Spivak's going to end up getting clipped on the feet. I think because he's going to end up hesitating. I think Spivak's going to end up realizing that Ante Delija's actually got a couple of good counters on the feet, with his hands. So yeah, Spivak by first round KO. Moving to the next fight, we have Jacoby Smith taking on Josiah Harrell. Josiah Harrell, I'll be real, I don't really know much about him, but he's 11-0. Apparently he's like a little nugget. He's very hard on the ground. He's very very gritty. He's like a little pit bull, I think They're both kind of similar, like in the sense of style, but Jacoby Smith's way better on the ground and way better on the feet, striking wise. He's just that little bit more refined guy over just Josiah Harrell. I think Jacoby Smith's going to end up getting a second round stoppage over Josiah Harrell, but I think Josiah Harrell's going to make it competitive in the first round. I think he's going to make a statement on why he should be in the UFC, but I think Jacoby Smith is just too good, man. He's very, very good, and he's a very good prospect to keep an eye on. He's 30, so he's coming into his prime. Yeah, so I think this is the moment Jacoby Smith makes his statement, and I think he's going to put on a very good win. He might be in trouble in the end of the first, maybe, but at the second round, he's going to come out, and I think he's going to mow down a Josiah Harrell. I think he's just going to be just way more fresh in the second, man. It's going to look disgusting. I think Jacoby Smith's going to be way better in the second, just mow this Josiah Harrell down. So give me Jacoby Smith at the start of the first round finish. Moving to the next fight, we have Zach Reese taking on the circus clown. The circus fighter. That is Mikel Pereira. Mikel Pereira, we've been saying it on the channel. He's basically the circus fighter. He's made his own style. He's basically he is the circus fighter, right? But in this one, I think Zach Reese, what's happened here is Zach Reese, his weakness is that unorthodox kind of weird sniping style, because he doesn't like to be pressured. We saw that when he was fighting against Jackson McVeigh. We had Zach Reese. That was a one-off. That was a quick prediction. We had Zach Reese by actual second round stoppage. But he doesn't like to get pressured, man. I think Mikel Pereira is just that little bit stronger than a Jackson McVeigh. You know what I mean? And I think Mikel Pereira has been overlooked here, just because of his bad performances. We shit on him, and he's had 3 bad losses. We did call our boy Kyle Dorcas to smoke a fucking Mikel Pereira, as a 3-1 dog. But, I think in this one, Mikel Pereira is very much should be a favorite, and I think he will show it here. I think Mikel Pereira is going to probably keep it really competitive against Zach Reese, and you're going to see a Mikel Pereira decision, or we're going to see a Mikel Pereira early stoppage. So give me Mikel Pereira to beat Zach Reese. Moving to the next fight, we have a Chidi Njokuani taking on a Carlos Leal. Now, these two complement each other very much. Chidi Njokuani, he's very tall, he's lanky, he's Muay Thai, very much a Muay Thai guy, that's his striking, obviously style. Likes to kind of keep it, and use his kicks, pepper and kind of pick his shots. But Carlos Leal likes to go straight forward and loop his shots, but he's short, right? And that's what they like to do. They both like to strike, and someone's going down here, someone's getting KO'd. And I feel like Carlos Leal is probably going to end up finding a Chidi Njokuani's chin, man. Because the only reason I say that is because I think Chidi Njokuani is going to be staying there too long, and I think he's going to end up he folds under pressure, and that's what Carlos Leal will bring to the table. I think Carlos Leal, either way, this fight's going to end up going. It's basically a coin flip how I see it. I see Carlos Leal getting clipped by a fucking knee straight up the middle. If he's looping, that's what he will probably get clipped by. But Chidi Njokuani most likely will get clipped by an overhand left, overhook. Just a fucking loop and hook, you know what I mean? And, easy. Body to the head. Chidi Njokuani takes an L. And I think Carlos Leal takes a TKO victory over Chidi Njokuani. I think Chidi Njokuani takes, goes to the ground, and it's just a ground and pound finish. Carlos Leal takes a nice win. But, at the end of the day, this fight is ballsy, and it is a coin flip, man. But that's my prediction. That's how I see it happening. And I see that, nonetheless, Carlos Leal, that's how I see it, getting clipped by, a knee up the middle, elbows over the top, maybe grazing on the top of his head, illegal strikes, but they'll count it anyway, and a Chidi Njokuani win. But I don't see that happening. That could be least of my worries. Carlos Leal by KO, and he's going to put on the pressure with a loop and overhands, you know what I mean? Like the way he does it. Moving to the next fight, we have Ode Osborne taking on adiris. I think in this one, I think Adiris is going to put on a good fight. He's good all round. He's good, obviously good grappling. Ode Osborne, he's coming off like very bad losses, man. You know, I think he's going to be fighting for his career here. Ode Osborne, very much got a good reach advantage here. Good striking on the feet. It's just if Ode Osborne doesn't get, you know, obviously clipped early, you know, because he's been known to almost fade in the first and almost be finished, you know, notably over Ronaldo Rodriguez, but he stayed in there and made it competitive. I just think that, you know, Ode Osborne's obviously the clear veteran, UFC veteran in this fight here. But on the other hand, albeit adiris, it's hard, man, because Ode Osborne, he's coming out of that Strickland camp. I do believe he is. And yeah, I think that John Wood, and he trains with John Wood. I think that I'm going to go with Aldiris. You know, I think he's 10-1. I think he's going to give Ode Osborne a very good fight, man. I thought Ode Osborne was someone else. I don't know. I think Ode Osborne's kind of a hype job, man. Put him, you know, you just go back to PFL or whatever. You go back to another promotion. Did you ever fucking gives a fuck about Ode Osborne? Yeah. LFA. You can go back to the LFA. You fought there. Anyway, nevertheless, you know what? Yeah, I've got Aldiris on a decision. Nah. Yeah, actually, yeah. I don't really give a fuck about this fight, man, to be honest. I'm not going to lie. Aldiris beats Ode Osborne. Moving to the next fight, which is a very good fight. Alden Coria taking on Louis Gurul. Okay, Louis Gurul, basically like, he's like the 81 cent Dollar Tree Volkanovski, you know, with no skill whatsoever. It's like Volk just started training like 6 months ago. You know, he's just started MMA 6 months ago. That's literally how, you know, Louis Gurul fights. Like he just looks like a Volk that's been training for only like 3 months in MMA. But on the other hand, Alden Coria, dude, okay, his last fight against Alessandro Costa, he looked like an absolute specimen. He's had some good rest. He's had 5 months in between that. He looked absolutely phenomenal. He trains with Joshua Van, you know. He's coming out of Texas. Dude, this is going to be a spectacle. I think Alden Coria is going to get a first-round finish over Louis Gurul. I think Louis Gurul literally looks like he's out of his own body. I don't even think he knows where he is. I think that Alden Coria is just... He's kind of got like very savage calf kicks. He's very good, man. I think Alden Coria is going to end up getting a very good first-round finish over Louis Gurul. Louis Gurul, anyone that hyped him up, shame on you. Anyway, moving to the next fight, we have a rematch in Nora Canol taking on Jocelyn Edwards. Now, apparently, you know, this fight happened a while ago. I'm pretty sure it was in Paris. Nora Canol got the robbery victory over Jocelyn Edwards, but the only reason I remember this is because I'm pretty sure Nora Canol was one of my winning parlay bet slips, and I got like the whole card right. This was the UFC Paris card. I think it was Sergey Spivak taking on Cyril Gane, pretty sure. And Nora Canol was the underdog there. I think she was paying like 2-1 or something over Jocelyn Edwards, but apparently she didn't win. And, you know, nevertheless, I don't think, you know, I think it was just quite competitive. But at the end of the day, Jocelyn Edwards has been training with, and I'm pretty sure I heard that she's been training with Valentina Shevchenko. You know, and obviously whoever's been training Jocelyn Edwards lately has been telling her that, you know, your weapon is obviously your legs. Like, look at her, you know, behind. You know, she's got very good, strong legs. You know what I mean? And obviously, whoever's training her right now is doing her a favor and telling her, hey, you know, power comes from the, you know, obviously the ground up. You know what I mean? So plant your legs and let them fly. You know, let your hands fly, and we'll see what happens. Now she's been connecting, and she got a nice KO win over Priscilla Cachoeira, where she displayed some good power, you know, power transfer, you know, which was fantastic. You know, it's good to see in the women's, you know, bantamweight division. So I've got a Jocelyn Edwards by beating a Nora Canol and getting her win back. moving to the next fight, we have a Ramiz Brakimaj taking on a Puno Soriano. Oh, by the way, Jocelyn Edwards, by any means necessary. She could win on decision, or she could win by stoppage. All right, moving to the next fight, we have Ramiz Brakimaj taking on Puna Soriano. Puna Soriano, obviously, yep, training with Strickland. There you go, Extreme Couture. So he's training with Strickland. So he's going to come in proper ready. And, you know, again, same with kind of like Dan Ige. So it's kind of similar styles, you know. Ramiz Brakimaj, I do not believe Ramiz Brakimaj is going to submit a Puna Soriano. I think Puna, he's going to look good. He's going to look good here. I think Puna has been looking great. You know, I think he's got good hands, very good boxing. I think Ramiz Brakimaj, he doesn't impress me. He does have good power in his strikes. He's got good submissions. We had him, you know, beating a Billy Ray Goff. You know what I mean? But I think Puna Soriano is going to keep it a very competitive, and I think he's going to get a decision win over Ramiz Brakimaj, and he's going to keep it on the feet. I don't think that Ramiz Brakimaj is going to end up, you know, getting a slick submission over a tired Soriano up against the cage. I don't think that. I think Soriano is going to keep it on the feet. He's going to keep it competitive, and he's going to get a good decision win over Ramiz Brakimaj. Moving to the next fight, we have a Jean Paul Lebeziani taking on Phil Rowe. Okay, Jean Paul Lebeziani. You know, his relative, his dad was the striking coach for a Gracie, for one of the Gracies. You know what I mean? So this guy obviously has very, very good jiu-jitsu. Phil Rowe's very much in trouble here. I think Phil Rowe, just because he's very tall, he's got very much big reach advantage here. I think that a Phil Rowe, he's going to end up getting in trouble on the feet. He's going to end up getting, you know, he's going to end up getting outstriked on the feet. I think he's going to end up getting in trouble. I think he's going to end up getting clubbed. And I think he's going to end up getting subbed by a Lebeziani, because Lebeziani is a prospect to watch. I truly believe this. Him and Yadier Del Villal and Jacoby Smith, all three of them on the card, are the three prospects to look out for. There's the three. Boom. There's the three. There's your three parlay right there. There's your three leg if you want. Right? Jean Paul, Yadier Villal, and Jacoby Smith. Boom, right there. You probably won't pay much. Probably pay like $1.03. You know what I mean? But Jean Paul submission over Phil Rowe. I think I don't think Jean Paul will kind of transfer that power too much. Phil Rowe is pretty good on the feet. He's got good style, good boxing. You know what I mean? But I think he's got a good chin too, you know. So I feel like a Jean Paul, if he's going to finish, and I do believe he can finish a Phil Rowe, it's going to be by a submission. He's going to find submission, man. It's going to be up against the cage, you know, or, you know, pressure. Jean Paul needs the pressure. He needs to put on that body to the head. He needs to clip a Phil Rowe, and when he clips him, just go for it, man. Don't back off. Go for it. Try and choke him out, man. Because as soon as you clip him, get on him like you know. Anyway, boom, right there. That's Jean Paul. Jean Paul needs to sub him, and I think that Jean Paul will submit a Phil Rowe. Moving to the next fight, we have Yadier Del Villal, our dog of the week in his last fight against a Jordan Levitt. Jordan Levitt was actually one of the first picks on our channel. The submission over Kurt Holloway. So we called the Kurt Holloway submission for Jordan Levitt 8 months ago. Wow. So this channel is 8 months old. Anyway, moving to the next fight, we have Yadier Del Villal, the Cuban problem, taking on the Monkey King, Jordan Levitt. So basically, Yadier Del Villal is going to mow a Jordan Levitt. I've been saying on the channel, Yadier Del Villal is the guy to watch. He's the prospect. My credit was out the window because his last fight, he was our dog of the week. A week before the fight, you know what I mean? And he goes out there and mows Isaac Delgarian, and then this whole like controversy about it being rigged. Isaac Delgarian didn't realize who Yadier Del Valal was. Yadier Del Valal is very good all round. He's very strong athlete. He's very good grappler. He reminds me he's kind of got like that Ilya kind of aura. Like, who is this guy? He's just like, who is this guy? He's clean, man. You know, he's clean. He's strong. He's got good. Definitely doesn't have the boxing that Ilya has, clearly, but he has like that kickboxing style. He's very good kicks, very strong. Doesn't care. He just moves forward, you know, and he's very dangerous on the ground. I think that he's going to end up mowing a Jordan Levitt down in the first round. Give me the Yadier Del Valal first round finish, and we've been saying it on the channel, man. We've been saying Yadier Del Valal is the guy to watch, man. He really is, and we've been saying it. I don't care that credit. I don't care about that. I don't care about that whole controversy, him and Isaac Delgarian. That was our call, man. We called that a week ago. You know what I mean? I didn't give a fuck. You know what I mean? That guy, he's going to show why. You know what I mean? That Isaac Delgarian looked like he didn't know what he was doing. You watch. Watch what he does to fucking Jordan Levitt. Moving to the next fight. And the first fight of the night, of the whole card, we have Carly Judice taking on Juliana Miller. Carly Judice, again, another one. Before my channel, I was telling people, who the fuck is Dubin? Dubin was paying 6-1 on the Contender Series, knocks out some stiff fucking Canadian fucking lady, right? Some fucking random stiff, muscly looking stiff, right? Knocks her out. Dubin knocks her out. Then Dubin gets the fight against Carly Judice off a 2-fight losing skid. Everyone says fucking Dubin's going to knock out fucking Judice. Dubin's the next Nunes. I swear to God, people were saying this. It's the fucking most ridiculous thing. It's literally why I started a channel. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? Judice is going to fucking knock her out. Judice knocks her out. Now, you know, she's gone and knocked her out. Kalari. Judice is a beast, man. She's good. She's very good on the feet, very good striking, very good kicks. Miller wants it to the ground. Miller wants, you know, obviously to grapple Judice. Judice is not a good opponent to be on the feet with, but at the same time, Judice is very good at, you know, keeping it on the feet, you know, and I feel like Akali Judice is very disciplined. I feel like she's one of the rare athletes that always is ready, man. She's always ready. She's, you know, and it shows the way she fights, you know, and I think Akali Judice is going to get a very good win over Miller, and I think Miller probably takes too many shots, and I'm going to go Akali Judice by TKO to start the fucking card off in UFC Houston. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. This is Punches of Profits. This is Nick Holland. I'm out. Peace.